this absolutely vital by-election. It's been rather a long day for me. I started off in Wembley this morning making a speech to 5,000 British Hindus. So if I suddenly start saying Jai Saya Ram and nodding like this, that's I'm in the wrong time zone. But a really big thank you. This is an absolutely crucial by-election. And I don't know what you're finding, but what I'm finding is that out there, there's no enthusiasm for the Labour Party. There's not much enthusiasm for anyone else, but there is enthusiasm for Chloe. But they are making us work for it. Because of the expenses scandal, because of all the problems with politics, I think people in Norwich North absolutely want us out on the doorstep, really showing that we want to win, that we deserve to win, and that we understand all the things they're worried about. So one of the reasons for getting you together tonight, I'm afraid, is as well as saying a big thank you, because I know the people in this room have worked incredibly hard, is to say we've only got a few days left to go, and I need you to put absolutely everything into those last few days. This is going to be a turnout election. If we can get out all those pledges that we've got, and all the people who are inclined to think about voting for the Conservatives will win. But if we don't get them out, we won't. And this, I think, is an absolutely vital milestone on the road to the next general election. And if I can do something, I'm told now the Prime Minister, because he's in such a foul temper in the Downing Street bunker, that when anyone goes to see him, they have to deliver what's called a news sandwich. They have to give him a piece of good news on top, they have to give him a piece of another good news on the bottom, and they slip the true bit of news, which is the bad news, right in the middle. So I'm afraid I'm going to do that to you. And I'll start with the good news. I think the good news for our party is that I think people have really, really given up on this Prime Minister. They are fed up with him. They are angry with him. And one of the reasons is not just the state of the economy and the appalling debts and the way he's undermined our armed forces or all the rest of it. I think what it is above all is they're fed up with the way that he takes the British public for fools. He keeps saying things that he must know are not true. Whether he's saying, oh, I cancelled the election but it had nothing to do with the polls, that was a good one. Whether he's saying, Alistair Darling was my first choice as Chancellor of the Exchequer, and who could honestly state that sentence while keeping a straight face. Or whether it's saying, over and over again, as he has in recent weeks, that he has no plans to reduce public spending, which everyone knows that whoever wins the next election is going to happen. Or whether it is actually in the last few days that, you know, the army's got all the helicopters they need in Afghanistan. This guy keeps saying things that everyone knows not to be true. So I think he has lost the trust of the British public, and that is good for us because we have a chance to win it. The other piece of good news in the news sandwich for us is in those local and European elections we did have some really excellent results. We topped the poll in every region apart from the northeast of England. We even topped the poll in Wales. No one has done that apart from Labour since the time of Lloyd George. We did very well in the local elections. You did brilliantly here. We also won across the north of England. We won in the southwest, where we defeated the Liberal Democrats all over the place in the southwest. So those are good results. But the bad news in the middle, if you like, is that we have got an enormous mountain to climb to win the next election. You know, Margaret Thatcher only needed to win 35 seats in 1979 to form a majority. We've got to win 120 seats at the next election in every part of the country. So we cannot afford one thing to go wrong between now and then. We've got to win all those marginal seats in the east of England, in the northwest, in the southwest. Everything has got to go to plan. And the plan starts with all of what you're doing in this coming Thursday. Because this is such an important milestone. And this is my fourth visit. I will be back on Monday, bringing with me Nick Robinson, the follically challenged political editor of the BBC. I will be back on Wednesday, and I'll be staying the night because I've said to anyone who is a member of Parliament or a candidate who wants to be part of the next Conservative government, that being in wherever we're going to be, the Holiday Inn or wherever, is a absolute condition of being the next Conservative government. So I'm hoping for a big turnout of ambitious candidates and members of Parliament. And I'll be getting up, I'm told, at some unearthly hour to go out with you on the dawn raid, where we will be delivering one last piece of superb literature. And so I hope that we can really make the last few days of this campaign count. And I think the thing that has shone through this campaign more than anything else is the fact that actually we have got a really outstanding candidate. I've been doing today in the television and radio station and actually talk about someone who is 27 years old, who could have a perfectly good career. She works at Deloitte's and could probably have a very well paid career, but instead is opting to deliver, I regret it, to go into public service and to work hard as a constituency MP, yes, but also to try and do politics in a new way. And we've all got to do that. The public is crying out for politicians who are going to be transparent, who are going to be accountable, who are going to be open. And there's a great opportunity for us with candidates like Chloe to bring that new sort of politics. So thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for all you're going to do in the next few days. The last bit, the bit of news I suppose I've left out of the news sandwich, which is the toughest bit of all, is that if we win that election, we are going to face the most difficult circumstances that any government has faced in 50 years. Dennis Healey was borrowing 7% of GDP when the country nearly went bust in the late 70s. We are now borrowing 14% of GDP. We have a huge crisis facing us. But I think the Conservative Party does best when actually the nation is in need of clear leadership, clear principles, and tough decisions being made in the national interest. And I'm not depressed about what faces us, because I think there's a once-in-a-generation opportunity to actually run this country in a better way, in a different way. Yes, to save money, but to do things differently, and to pass out power and control away from government and give it back to people. Whether it's abolishing the regions that we absolutely hate and giving power back to the local authorities, whether it's giving the power to the parent to choose the school, the patient to pick the hospital, all of us to have more power and control over our police services, whether it is actually making sure we deliver more for the public services without endlessly asking, can we have more money? Just like every business, like everyone else has to do. It's a great opportunity. And I think we should steel ourselves to thinking that if we can win next Thursday, if we can build towards that general election, there is every prospect that the next Conservative government will be able to do what actually all of us really care about, and why we're in this party, and why we turn up to things like this, and why we care, which is we love our country, and we know it deserves a lot better government than what it's getting right now. So please, tonight, the next few days, put on that extra pair of thick leather soles, because you're going to be pounding the pavements. Watch out for the knuckles as you go in through the left box. Don't you hate the ones with the brushy bits on the other side? And the ones with the dog on the other side?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes the one where the dog doesn't bark very much but bites like hell. You're doing a great service. Thank you. We're going to get Chloe elected. We're going to celebrate on Friday, but only if we put every last bit into these last few days. We can do it. You can do it. And when we do it, it will be a great thing. Thank you.
Going to say a few words today. David, thank you so much for coming up to Norwich.